Right then, folks, I'm going to hand you over to Richard, and he's going to explain what we're doing.
No, you're not. You got well upset when I stole your thunder.
I did actually. I always start these things off, folks, don't I? I can't be dealing with it. But seeing as we're out filming with Des today, we thought, what better time than to do a podcast and going back to sort of that team fishing era in his Daiwa Dorking days. That's how I remember your best days. Obviously, Thatcher's first for me, and then your Dorking days, and just sort of like the influence that you all had over each other and the, you know, the information you shared. It was phenomenal. I love, you know what I mean? Team fishing for me, let me waffle a bit first. I love the idea of it, but I was never around sort of like the great teams. And you look, obviously you look at like the likes of Barnsley now as like sharing all that information and that. And then obviously Dorking back in the day, it was like, yeah, it'd been nice that to be part of it. But as you're gonna, you know, tell us in a bit, there's a lot of hard work involved, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was busy. It was expensive. You know what I mean? It's expensive because, you know, back in the day I had not, you know, just a new mortgage and just moved into a house and all that, and it was like, you know, it was hard. It was hard, but like we spoke before we started filming, I think having the manager that you had, like Steve Saunders.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He sort of made the team what it was.
What's he doing now, Steve? Is he still fishing?
He just fishes all the time now. Yeah, he had a shop, obviously a fishing shop, and he sort of sold that on. And
do you know Steve? You know of him, wouldn't
I
you?
know the name, but I don't know him personally.
Legend.
Yeah.
So I fished in the England youth team with his son Michael.
Yeah, Mike.
Is he still fishing?
No, he doesn't fish at all. I think he might just mess around a bit, but no, he doesn't fish at all now.
What, fishing related?
Well, he messes about. I'm not sure. He might be.
Yeah, that's how. Obviously,
he might be in his garage or something with a chainsaw or something. But no, I don't.
I know Steve from then because he came over to Portugal with us when we were there with the youth team. So he's lovely bloke, and you'd want to succeed.
You wanted to be successful, and you know, Dorking. I think Dorking. You know, obviously, when I fished for Thatchers, we started fishing. We got into some of the Super League finals against Dorking, and Dorking at the time, well. You know, that name of Dorking had been about for a long, long time, even when I fished for Thatchers. It was like
Dam Dorking, then, was it? Was it Dam Dorking?
I'm not sure if it was the same team, that.
Oh, was it? No, was it
it's always been, I think it's always been Daiwa. I think it was a completely different team.
Oh, go on, mate.
And then, obviously, when we went to the Super League finals back in the day, you know, that was the team to beat. And then it was Essex County. Essex County. You know, Essex County was like, when I first joined Dorking, Essex County were still top of the game in that, you know, to qualify to go through to the final. Yeah. And then Steve sort of built the team up.
Essex County,
were Barnsley as big at this point though?
No.
Or were they not really?
No.
Who's this?
Were Barnsley as big?
I'm going to say you had three, didn't you? Tricast Highfield, Essex County, Dorking.
Yeah.
Barnsley.
I don't know what was happening with Barnsley back then.
Was always big, you know,
I'm not sure with Barnsley it was like there was a few teams. I think the teams
Ultimate Barnsley and
I'm not quite sure what happened with where Barnsley was in that era.
Yeah.
But
not as dominant as they are now.
No, Dorking went through. I think they went through like quite a dominant at the time, and then Essex County took over the sort of the reign of all that, and then obviously they used to fish the same Super League team league.
Were you in the same region in that then, was you? Or
no, because I still lived in where I was in Bristol. So obviously for me and Steve Mayo to travel from like where we lived to
Steve as well. What's Steve up to?
He's living life in Thailand still.
Nice. Go on, the Arapaimas.
Yeah, he'd be messing around with some.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So obviously we used to travel like virtually every week, fishing the Super League rounds, and at the time Dorking couldn't quite beat Essex in the league to get through to because you used to have to win your league, didn't you, to get through to the Super League final? Yeah. And then Steve drafted in. Well, he just built the team up really. It was me. No, just to name a few, there was me, Steve Mayo, Ben Leach, Simon Willsmore. Obviously, I didn't know a lot of them until I got in the team, got to know them. And then we started beating Essex, you know, on the Grand Union Canal with there was blubbering fishing back then. It was brilliant. Yeah. Because there was such a big, loads of different styles of fishing. You know, 1 minute you'd be at Barra Beach, fishing a feeder for bream. Yeah. Then you'd be on the Grand Union Canal fishing with bloodworms.
So is this just before like commercials, like Whitehead?
Yeah, They were there obviously, but they weren't part of the league. It was lots of natural water fishing, you know, a bit of everything. Then we might go to Gold Valley for one of the leagues, bit of carp fishing. Yeah. And yeah, we started beating them. And then it was funny, that was like the collapse of Van den Eyck as a team as well.
Right, okay.
Because, there's Derek Young,
Kim
Pete
Milson would have been
Vasey,
there, wasn't he?
Kim
Chris-
Milson.
Chris Van der Vliet.
Yeah, Chris Van der Vliet.
Dean Barlow.
Dean
wasn't he?
Barlow. I'm not sure, yeah. And when we started beating them, that was the end of Essex, unfortunately.
Right,
they
the start
sort
of
of
the
faded
Dorking
away.
era, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
they
Yeah,
just
yeah.
said we can't compete anymore, which was a bit strange because they were like the Dogs Do Dallas were back in the day, weren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
And they folded not long after either. It was only a couple of years. We beat them for a couple of years and they were gone.
Right, okay.
They just fell apart.
Yeah.
Just destroyed them.
Just annihilated them, Rich. That's all I can say, really.
Do you think there is a bit of that though? Now, like obviously now with Barnsley being so dominant,
I think
it almost puts people off because they're that far ahead of everyone else. Or...
Yeah. They're just taking it apart everywhere, aren't they? On everything.
phenomenal.
But fishing's different as well now. When we used to go, the carp fishing was carp fishing.
Yeah, no F1.
There was no F1s and stuff. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't there, and I think we've just been speaking about F1 fishing, haven't we? I mean, it's amazing fishing, but for like a lot of people, it's just a bit.
It's hard to get in, like to be that, sort of involved with it and on the go with it all the time. It's just too much for a lot
It
of
is,
anglers,
yeah, it is.
It's when you're doing it week in, week out, and you almost specialise in
It
it.
is specialised in some respects.
But you notice it yourself, don't you? If you do the same thing for a month or two,
You're on it.
You get so
you
into-
were silvers fishing, innit? You're proper on it, mate.
yeah. And now I'm buggered for
Catching-
6 months.
Caught
Yeah,
some
you
rud
can't
the
do
other day,
nothing,
didn't
eh?
you? Caught some rud the other day, you did.
Did he?
All I can do.
Smash the rud out.
Talk us through then, Des. So obviously you've got a Super League final, say, coming up at, let's go Whiteacre, for example.
Yeah.
What would that involve with the likes of, obviously taking time off work?
Yeah, it was really
involved.
difficult because my England sort of career started not, around that around that era as well. There was obviously a few sickies.
You can say it now, mate.
Doesn't matter, does it now? Do you know what I mean? There was a
Absolutely.
few sickies here and there.
Yeah.
I used to take time off of work,
Would
obviously
it be
holidays.
like full on intense for a week, or would you just do a few days?
Depends. Like
obviously?
Whiteacres was more about going down for the week,
Right, okay.
because obviously where it was situated. And other venues you could travel there. You
So
know,
the likes of like Hayford, for example, was that a long way for you when it used to be at Hayford?
yeah, Hayfield was probably 2 hours.
Was it
2
2 hours?
hours?
Right,
then.
okay, right.
Maybe a bit of touch more. We just sort of used to go there on a weekend. If there was a practice match, you'd go there, and then we'd sort of go there 2 or 3 days.
How far, sort of like in advance, would you go to? Would you do that a month before, like get used to it? Or?
Quite 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Pretty intense. You put all that time and effort in.
Yeah, and obviously it used to change a lot.
What are you looking for? Because this is the thing, you see a lot of people go practicing for matches and stuff and you just end up pleasure fishing, catching a load of fish because you're on your own, it's solid. But when you're going as a team, what are you looking for, looking to
You
learn?
always pick something up, Rich. It's like the film that we'll be doing today. There's little things that I'll probably show you today that was about back in that day. Unless someone actually does something, and that, I'm not saying it will work, but if it does work, there's always something in there. There's always something in a team thing. Even if you go pleasure fishing, you'll say. I remember I fished the Stainforth. What's the other one? Not the Stainforth and Keeby Canal.
Junction.
New Junction Canal. I went there one day. It's a classic example. It wasn't a match, admittedly, and I was fishing away, and I was next to Adrian Whittle, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that in a practice match. And I used to do a little bit of squat fishing. That was all squat fishing on there. I'm going to rabbit on a bit about that, but
Go on, the
I
squats,
remember I
mate,
caught
go
a
on.
few, and I just
Yeah.
couldn't catch enough, and I thought, let me just put some more line on the bottom with double squat, which ain't the sort of thing you do with squats, is it, really? And I fished like 4 or 5 inches over depth with double white squat on. I'm sat there like that, and I'm thinking, come on, then let's see if I can catch a bream. It's like, float's gone under, whack, 4-ounce roach. I'm like, bloody hell, that was all right. Bear in mind this fishing is like, ain't happening. It's bright sunshine, not a breath of wind. Got out again, caught £7 of roach in one me section.
Cool on,
So I've gone back. Obviously, this was with Dorking as a team. Said, like, how have you caught, Des? I've said I've fished like 5 or 6 inches over depth
This is the
with
thing
double
then.
squat.
So where you pulling this information? Are you all meeting up at a pub or something, or is it just over the phone?
No, because the mobile phone really back then was not even like it was like
you'd
it was
meet
like the
somewhere,
professionals,
like,
wasn't it? Bodie and
collectively.
Doyle, where the phone was like this big, like hello,
Hello!
Yeah.
You'd
And,
meet up like communal point and all
yeah, and
share
then
the information.
and you talk about it. You go back after and you talk about it, and then like as it happens, we went on to win the national, and most of us caught like 5 inches over depth for double squat on.
Brilliant, mate.
You couldn't get your head, but that's what happens in a team practice.
Yeah.
You somehow something comes through.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously the draw was quite important if you knew the venue.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Barnsley's got a massive advantage.
Yeah.
A lot, no, not being funny, a lot of the finals now are built in, it is around their area, isn't it,
Yeah.
of fishing, and that makes a massive difference.
Oh, we couldn't believe we did a group day a few weeks ago at Lindome, and then obviously the Barnes had been there, practiced for the match, and then they all stayed behind, didn't they? And they all pooled the information
Yeah.
together. You know what I mean? It's that.
Yeah,
That's what,
that's what you need, though.
dedication,
If
definitely.
someone, you know, if you don't tell people
Yeah.
about the info, you're not going to win, and that's where Dorking at the time.
Did you used to have any anglers that would keep the information to yourself, would you say, and individual glory and that, or was it all like?
No, I wouldn't say
for
so.
me, I wouldn't say you
no,
did, the team
back
it was.
then it was about the team was the team.
Yeah,
We all wanted it badly.
Because of, like a lot of it was Steve as well, you know,
Yeah.
you wouldn't succeed for him.
Yeah, we wanted it badly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you got teams like Essex County and you were beating them, it gives you a buzz.
Confidence and-
It gives you the buzz to go out and just take it. And
Yeah, definitely.
you know, we were on like like Barnsley are. We were on like I think I got a sort of Super League final. What was it? Discs. I
Yeah,
got like
yeah.
a whole pile of them like that big.
Got loads of them, yeah.
And then we just, it's different now. It's changed. I mean, I'm still in the team as such, but I don't fish it. My sort of fishing has gone away from that
Yeah.
because I don't know. There's lots more things happening in fishing now, isn't there? And that's the difference. Back in the day, then team fishing was
It's
you
massive,
needed
wasn't
team fishing
Yeah.
for your fishing. If you wanted to fish big matches and stay like busy, especially during the winter, team fishing was a must. Where nowadays you don't need team fishing.
You only got to look at the nationals back then. There was was there 6 nationals? Back
Yeah,
then?
it was
There 6
ridiculous,
divisions,
wasn't it?
there?
Yeah, it was like 500 people, weren't there, on some of the nationals?
All on the buses. And
You
the
don't
boats
need
and
it
all.
anymore. If you don't want to do team fishing, you don't need it. There's lots of other things. There's, look at there's feeder masters, river fish,
Yeah. Canal
festivals.
pairs and, yeah,
there's
also
tons, isn't there?
Commercials, yeah.
And I think that's sort of like you don't need to do team fishing if you don't want to. It's good. I still, because you get a buzz out of it, but
Yeah.
it's not essential.
Did you proper enjoy it, Des, back in the day?
Yeah, I
Like,
enjoyed
really?
it. It was a lot of financially, it was a bit.
So, like, obviously, if it come back to the fore, do you reckon it'd be financially viable to
I don't
do what
think
you were
it-
doing
I don't-
back then?
I don't-
Oh, it is now.
no, I don't think it will ever come back.
No.
I think if you're looking to get into the England team as a
Yeah.
senior or a junior, I think it's always been the same in my eyes. There's Barnsley, you've got Starlets,
Yeah.
you've got Dorking. I think they're the 3 teams really that the England team is made up from.
Yeah.
And that's where I got it. That's where I got my break for the England team was through the team, through the Dorking.
Yeah.
With the anglers you're fishing it with, like
Yeah.
like
The
Will
best-
Rays and
best,
Steve,
yeah.
Steve Gardner.
Yeah.
Obviously Steve Saunders himself.
Yeah.
And I think that if I never fished with Dorking, there's no way I'd have got into the England team. That part of my fishing would never have happened.
Right. Okay.
Not a chance.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for me now, I've got no interest in that fishing. I'm happy in my own, like you are, like everybody
Definitely.
is. I think you don't need it.
Yeah.
So, I suppose that you've been through the heyday of it, and as the team grew and everything, what's going to be the standout, memorable win that, if you think back to it?
As a team,
Yeah.
it's got to be winning the Super League when Essex when we beat Essex. We were.
Because what? I don't know if I'm getting my wires crossed. So the Super League, was that one on a natural venue, then one on the commercials, or was it just one or the other?
Well,
Didn't
it
used to be one
changed
or the
slightly,
other?
didn't it? It changed.
remember it changing, yeah.
it changed. It was like that, wasn't it? Because it used to be on the Trent and Hayford.
That's it. Yeah.
So it used
That's
to
what
be
I'm thinking
natural
of.
stroke commercial, and
And
then
then
we won it. I never actually fished for Dorking, I don't think, when it was at Hayford. I was still fishing for Thatchers then, because that's when 16. I had a pole back then called a Garbellino Virage.
Yeah, boy.
Right, it used to go out like that, and then it'd go like.
So I had to anticipate
It's like a swing.
just right.
It's like it had a swing bridge in the middle, and then obviously all the Daiwa Dorking guys had the top of the range Daiwas back in the end.
Yeah,
that's
I
it.
remember them.
And that was a real tough venue, wasn't it? Because there was a picture actually. I've still got it. It was a David Hall's Match Fishing magazine, and I had a boss box, and this is God's honest truth, and I couldn't quite get across, so I took the foot plate off, and I got my box, and there's a picture, and I've got my feet like that on like the side of the platform, which was a piece of wood, so I could get that extra like foot to get over.
This Hayford Rich, it was a snake lake full of reeds, and all the carp were in the reeds.
And they were big carp as well.
Yeah.
But Dorking annihilated it. They annihilated it. Spraying
yeah.
casters, fishing out like casters shallow and heavy lines and all that. But I was still fishing for fatchers back then. That's where Steve Saunders, actually, Steve Mayo, we got in the van one day, and Steve said to me, he said, I've been approached by Steve Saunders if we would like to go and join Dorking.
Both of you, yeah?
Yeah.
Right,
and I'm like, bloody hell, Steve. I said, that is like, if we do, and it's fair play to Mayo, he said to me, he said, you need to do it.
Yeah.
He said, it don't bother me, but he said, you need to do it. Because, I don't know, Steve just had this feeling that I could have possibly got in the England team.
Right, okay.
And he said, I think you should do it. And then we done it. And yeah, luckily he had a company car that he used to absolutely destroy it. I mean, honestly, when you look back, he was a great driver, but he used to destroy cars. His gearboxes, he used to just treat them so badly.
Shove it in. Yeah, we didn't have as much gear.
And if it weren't, like, people say to me, how can I do what you done, Des, in fishing? I'm like, mate, if I sat down and wrote a book, for most people, with my job that I had, my boss, everything that happened with like travelling to, how many people can travel like we did for like 15 years, travel to London most weekends?
Yeah.
You can't do it, can you?
No,
do you know what I mean? And if it wasn't for all that, the England thing it definitely wouldn't have happened.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I do feel sorry for team fishing. I really do.
What Whitaker? What was the Super League at Whitaker? Was that just a one-off there?
Yeah, that was brilliant.
I remember them ones. I like them ones.
Yeah, they were awesome.
Yeah.
They were absolutely brilliant because there was no pellets back then.
Yeah, and it was year in, year out you won down there.
Yeah, we won like 10 years on the trot, I think, when
that.
it's like total domination, really. And then we won a few nationals and stuff. But yeah, the Super Leagues down Whitakers were brilliant because it's all sticky mag, meat, lots of meat fishing, shallow on the deck, and then Grant Olbert was in the team.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Steve wasn't stupid. He was always looking for like people like Grant come in.
When you, as a team, you're that dominant, what was it? Was it tactics-wise that you were doing something totally different, or was it just a case of being a bit better at
I think it was just both.
Rich, the anglers what they had.
I think it was both at the time, do you know what I mean? We were so on it, you know, at the time I was doing like lots of commercial fishing at Moorlands, here at Woodlands View where we are today. I think Will was like, still is, isn't he? He's at the top of his game on everything. Sticky Mag.
Yeah.
Steve Gardner. He did moan a bit down there about a few bits and pieces but yeah, and it was, like I said, it was carp. It was carp and bream. Bream, the bream were silvers. When you're catching like big weights of carp and bream shallow on meat, big hooks, thick, everybody was in trouble.
Yeah.
And
I suppose having that fear element as well, and again, like probably what Barnsley have got now, teams wouldn't want to face you because they're like instantly like, oh, blooming heck, I've got him in my section. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And it's intimidation kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a shame that Dorking don't. They've changed as well as a team. You look at a lot of their anglers now, and they've gone to quite a lot of canal anglers and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's what, that's where they've gone. The commercial side of the team is not like there as it used to be. They're still great anglers, all of them, but the anglers that I've seen, because I don't get involved with it anymore, but the anglers I've seen they're taking on, it's more about...
Is Steve still there? Is he in charge, or is he...
No, Steve's been gone a long time.
Right, okay,
he's been, unfortunately, I think when it comes to a bit of an end, when it, like you could see it went over the brow of the hill, I think Steve just said, I don't, it's a lot of effort.
Yeah.
He's on the phone all the time.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know what I mean? Are you coming? But
yeah.
we're now, like if Mark Goddard phoned me up, because he was the captain for a while, and Mark said, do you fancy? And I'd be like, no, it's all right. No, it's all right, man. I'm busy this week. I've got to do some gardening or something. Where Steve Saunders would phone up and say, what are you doing this weekend? I'll come in with you, wouldn't I? Yeah, that's all right. And see you next weekend.
Yeah.
You had that respect and like you wouldn't say no.
Yeah.
Where now it'd be like, Yeah, I'll tell you what, mate, I'll give it a
I
miss.
suppose it's hard because you've literally been there, got the t-shirt, done it all, haven't you? You know what
Yeah,
I mean with them.
yeah, it is. It was great times. We had some fantastic times, you know, great laughs. And yeah, but, you know, I was a lot younger in that then, and like, I don't know, you were hungry for it. And that's the same with like going back to the Barnsley team. There's a lot of young guys
Youngsters,
in that team.
yeah.
And you had a good mix, and it was like what we had. We had a good mix of younger anglers and like some of the older anglers.
Pooling that information.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Do you know what I mean?
Off himself.
And you learn off each other, because like the younger anglers were like, you know, dotted down floats, little dinks, and that's like, oh, all right. And then people like Steve Gardner he wouldn't miss that. He'd be like, do you strike it out in? Well, yeah. Well, I don't normally strike it out, wait for the last to come out.
It's not on that one,
Do you know what I
Sonny.
mean?
Come on, give
it was a great mixture because of all that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Definitely.
And
No,
it was, and it's completely gone full circle. You know, full circle for me now. I've not fished for Dorking. The only time I've ever fished for Dorking now is when they've had a Winter League at Gold.
Yeah.
And I get the odd phone call and say, look, can you fill in? And even then, I'm like, yeah, I'll go to Gold because I like that.
Is there actually any rules now on how many people can be in a team? Because there seems to be somewhere they just drag people. They'll have a national and just grab anyone.
I think the national, you've got to have so many in the team, haven't you?
Yeah.
But is there a limit on the like upper number? Because there's like
as a team, you can have as many as you want. Obviously, you pick from them.
Oh, sorry, you
Yeah.
can have as many as you want.
Yeah.
You can have as many as you want. At the time, I think Dorking had something like 28 people on the books, if you like.
Because you like whole range, when it canals, rivers, lakes, commercials.
But it's funny
that
with
kind of
Team
thing.
Dorking, the Dorking team I was involved with, there was no like putting your resignation in.
But you
just fade away.
Dorking could fish everywhere though.
Yeah,
like
but you just
calibre
fade
man.
away. You just fade away as an individual, like I've done. I've not sort of put my cards in and said, sorry mate, I'm not doing it. It's just like, you just go away. It's weird. It's always been the same. Like even when I first joined, it'd be like, where's that bloke gone then? Well, we haven't seen him for like, oh right, is he actually still involved?
He's on his sixth net, Todd Banana, that's where he is.
If he wants to be, do you know what I mean? There's no like, oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange, but that's how it's always been. But yeah, it was really good
I think we've
times.
seen like the peak of like that team fishing, haven't we? You know what I mean? Obviously it's still going, but I think we've seen the peak of it.
Definitely. I think there's just so much individual stuff now that people can enjoy. You know, I mean, I want to go out.
Pick and choose, can't you?
I want to go out and enjoy what I'm doing and pick and choose a bit. You know, like you
and
just
it is
said.
like we've said, the expense of like going practicing for a week with the fuel and staying over in an
There's
hotel.
nothing to be, and there's nothing. When I fished for Dorking, you literally, we used to, if we won, Steve used to like give us a bit of a bonus, if you like, so we get a little bit of money back from all our expense. But if you think now for team fishing, you literally, what do you get?
2 or 3 grand, isn't it? A big check. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
and that goes back in the kitty for the next year's competitions. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think for a lot of team fishing as well, there was one important thing we haven't really mentioned was like the sponsors.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah.
With like the kit.
Yeah. So you get proper kitted out, would you, like luggage wise?
Well, obviously, you know, I was sort of individually sponsored by Preston. I have been obviously for bloody donkey's years. But for a lot of people coming into like for say Daiwa Dorking, they used to get some Daiwa stuff for like trade minus
so like
God
clothing, Gore-Tex.
Yeah, that meant
like
a massive thing to them. That was like the pulling power to come and fish the team. And it'd be the same at Barnsley with Drennan. Do you know what I mean? They will be, you know, getting their luggage, getting their clothing, getting all their bits and pieces, and that nowadays I think it's massive for some people. Well, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we were only on about it earlier, weren't we? If you know, if you can get your elastics free, and I think that's still that draws people in. If it wasn't for that, I think it'd be really difficult.
Right, okay. Yeah, I didn't think of that, Des, to be fair.
There's a lot of that goes on, isn't there? It's always been the same in maybe in the top. Well, I think every team. Even when I used to fish for Thatchers, it was only a little shop, but Rodney would ground bait and bits and pieces, and you get a discount in the shop.
Right.
It all adds up, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? So I think that's
especially this day and age and everything.
Yeah, exactly. The way things are gone, it makes a big difference.
Oh, go on, Des.
But I do miss it. I do miss the crack, and I don't miss the driving.
Yeah.
I mean, me and Steve used to come back from London a lot of the weekends. And you'd be like on the motorway for 5 hours coming back home.
Yeah, straight on a Sunday, then straight back into work on a Monday.
Back in and work on a Monday.
Days, yeah.
And I don't want to do that anymore. I wouldn't do that anymore. I wouldn't better do it now. No. Even if I I don't know. It's different when you're travelling. You need someone to travel with as well. I ain't got that anymore. I travel a bit with Callum Dix now to some of the qualifiers. But because of Steve, Steve was my sort of travelling partner for many years. And you wouldn't want to travel with me anyway. You know what I mean? I'd be just moaning too much, wouldn't I? They'd be like, ah, Des, stop on the motor, let me get out.
No, shut up,
I'll get the bus
Yeah.
home. But yeah,
Oh,
you need that,
Yeah.
and I think Barnsley have got that. They've
Yeah.
got like a real good, they're a team, obviously a great team, great bunch of anglers, and they got these people travel together.
Yeah.
And I ain't got that. I never had that. I couldn't do that with Dorking now because I've got them to travel with.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need that,
Yeah.
and yeah, but yeah.
Oh, come on, mate. Yeah, no, it's mint. It's nice to have an insight into it. I suppose it is for you as well, Rich, because you're not like.
Yeah,
really
I've missed that era, haven't I?
Missed
really?
that era completely. Obviously, you were out like.
He's like-
Where is he? He was camouflage, wasn't he, in that era? Can't be him, wasn't he? Like, where is he? I can't
He
even
was
see
sneaking
him.
around in the hedges and stuff.
Well,
wasn't he?
yeah, possibly. Sniffing
Well,
around
so I've been
somewhere. There you
told.
go.
So I've been told.
But no, that's mint that. Cheers, Des.
Yeah, that's
Proper
all right.
nice to have an insight into it. It's
Yeah.
like, obviously, I fully remember it, you know, where it was and where it is now. And yeah, no, it's.
Oh, we honestly when we went to when the Super League final was at Porth on the one day because
Yeah.
we'd have one at Porth and one at like
One on
Whiteacres
site, yeah.
because it's like you said natural stroke commercial. I mean, we were just buzzing.
Yeah.
We'd go down there on an evening. I'll tell you a story actually.
Go
It's
on.
quite funny. I was down there with Will and Ben Ag. And we went and Will was like, Will's like all the time, he's like, oh, do you fancy a walk down to Porth? I'm like, it's 6:30 at night for Christ's sake. I said, all right. So we walked down there and we're like trolling down through the woods.
Oh, you went from side, from way?
Yeah. Yeah, just
would
to have
not have
a
a
look
clue.
round, do you know what I mean?
Well, I can't even get them in bloody car when I'm travelling to Port.
Well, I've never really seen any carp at Porth. They're obviously in there.
Yeah.
And then we walked down through the woods, if anybody knows, most of you know it from fishing Whiteacres all the years ago. And then there was obviously a few, because they were practicing down there. I looked down and it was like Peggy 11 or something in the woods, which is a massive step all the way down.
Oh, so you didn't used to peg the ones that are in the
We used to peg the whole match.
Oh, flipping
Yeah, I
heck.
used to peg
Right, okay.
in the woods opposite and the deeps, like,
Right,
up,
blimey,
like
right.
5
Right,
metres,
okay.
6 metres down, weren't they, some of the pegs?
Yeah.
And I looked down and I thought, and the light was going, I thought, that water looks a bit coloured down by that platform. And bear in mind, Porth's gin clear. And I walked down and I just seen this tail come up, right? And it was like that big. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. And I'm like, all of a sudden, this common carp's like come off the bottom. He's obviously eating the bait over from like someone's chucked it in. And this carp's eyes were like that big, like a cow eye. All right, and it seen me, it sort of blopped up like that and thought, Jesus, who's that? And it was like that big. It was like massive, this carp, and it's gone off, it's spooked. And I'm not kidding you, the bow, I've never seen a bow wave like it in my life. It's like, bear in mind, Porth's massive.
Well, the
lake,
one
innit?
caught 30 odd pound in a match on there.
Yeah,
Porth,
that was a mirror. But this thing, the border count, I spoke to a couple of carpmen, it's just like the big one that
Oh,
never
right,
comes
okay,
out.
that
It's
was
a
it.
massive common, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd never forget it. I can remember it sort of come up, like obviously sucking a load of ground bait in. And he's like, oh, this is all right. And he's like,
This cow eye on you.
who's that? And it turned round, this bow wave was going across the reservoir like a speedboat going across it. Yeah, I'll never forget it. And Will was like, what's that? I'm like, that was the biggest carp I've ever seen in my life.
Flipping heck, Des.
Isn't there like 2 F1s in there or
Yeah, I
something?
caught one.
I thought it was you, yeah.
I remember you caught a carp.
And I
on one
caught
of
a carp.
them.
Now, that was
Yeah.
next to John Arthur.
I remember you
Oh, his
catching
head
the
come
carp.
off.
I
Yeah.
heard you because I was on the other side. I was in the 80s and you were like on the other
I
side.
was in
weren't
the
you?
teens, wasn't I?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
remember
caught an
that.
F1 on a feeder. I bored it 'cause I couldn't catch nothing, so I bored it at like 18 metres with soft ground bait, chucked the feeder over it. It's like that every chuck with a skimmer. I thought, oh, I wish I'd done that earlier. And then the tip's like that. I thought, what's that? It was an F1. It was a Crasio, actually.
Was it?
Yeah, he's obviously snuck in from somewhere. And then the match next to John Arthur, it was the same sort of section, but up a little bit. And I was catching a skimmer. The
Yeah.
fishing was good. It was proper good
Lovely
fishing. It was
fishing
fishing
then,
well
wasn't
that
it?
year. And then I sort of dropped me rigging. It's like, oh, what's gone on here then? There's like nothing there. And I was just like gone under and I've gone whack. It's like a 6 slip and it's like gone out. And I'm like, why can't this just be a normal bream?
Yeah.
Why have I hooked this juggernaut?
Well, you thought it'd have been a pike or something.
Well,
like that, wouldn't
anything.
you? Yeah.
So it's gone out. I'm on 010.
Yeah.
And then I've like stood up. It's gone out. And then, you know when it's like, oh, that's going to snap me. It's gone.
All he heard was, it's a carp! That's
Yeah.
all he heard from the other side of the lake.
It's like gone like that and come back. And I
Yeah.
thought, well, I got one chance here. Is
Yeah.
stand up. So I jammed another section on because I never had pull bung. I couldn't. It was too deep. And I'm like that, and it's coming towards me, and it's gin. Look, it was gin clear. And I seen this fish, and I thought,
Is that mine?
that's a carp. So I got me net. It was about 3 foot above, below the surface of the water, and it swam straight at me landing net. And then John
Yeah.
Arthur's
Amazing.
like fishing a whip and all that. And he said, what's that? I said, it's a carp, about £10. No, it's not. I said, yeah, it is, John. He's like, got his whip, snapped that, chucked that in the edge, and then, yeah.
What, genuinely brutal?
No, he didn't break his thing. He wasn't very happy. He wasn't very happy.
Do they count to that?
No, they counted, Rich. Don't worry about that.
I don't think they do now, do they?
They don't now, because I think there's a...
That's his fault, they don't count.
They don't fish it anymore, do they?
Because
Because that's gone now. That's gone out of the festivals.
Oh, yeah, it has, hasn't it?
Unfortunately. Yeah. So, yeah, I've had some... Yeah,
went off on a bit of a tangent.
yeah. Where did we
there,
go
but
there?
that's
That's gone from
it.
team
Like that,
fishing
no,
to like
yeah.
Fourth.
Team fishing,
upsetting
and
everybody
fourth.
on the bank.
Mate, yeah.
But yeah, it was great times. It was great times to get up on the podium, and I don't know, there was just something about it. There was just something about beating Barnsley.
Yeah. And then obviously Essex as
Well,
well.
Essex were gone because it was a shame really, because we beat Essex in the obviously the team thing leading up to it, because they were in our league.
Yeah.
That was a disappointing part of that era. I think if Essex could have been in the final as well, that would have made it even better.
Ifield would have been there. Weren't they? Tricast Ifield or Drennan North West as well?
Yeah, Drennan North West were a bit later. It's just it was unfortunate that Essex died off because we beat them in the build-up. They were in the same league as us, see, so either Dorking went through or Essex.
Right, okay.
It'd been great for them to be in the final. I think that would have just kept everything
Kept it
going. You know what I mean? Because they'd have been exceptional at it as well.
Yeah.
Which was something that probably the angling, well, that wasn't the angling trust then. It was what was it back then?
NFA, wasn't it? NFA, yeah.
They could have probably put 2 teams through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there was good teams in there. There's like,
Really good.
because there is now. There's good teams that get really close in the final,
Yeah.
or in their group thing to go through.
Well, that's what they do in Europe. They send like a few teams. Don't they?
Yeah,
Not
that's
just
what
one.
it needed back then. But obviously the venues would have had to been bigger to compensate for it, or to get in the numbers in. But it's all hindsight, isn't it? When you look back, you think, oh, that would have made a difference. And
Too late for
it's
it
a
now,
shame.
isn't it,
Yeah, it's too late now. And I don't think team fishing will ever come back like it was.
No.
I don't think so.
No.
The individual things are just growing and growing and growing, aren't they?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
We
Something
need
for
a winning
everyone as well,
ways.
innit? You know what I mean?
Winning ways.
Individual.
You need your own. What is it now, don't you?
Our own team.
You know, you need your own fishing.
Imagine the team we'd have.
You need your own. You need your own Fishermania competition now. Winning. What would you call it? Fishing ways. Fisher ways.
Fisher.
Yeah.
That's what you need now.
There might be something next year actually.
Oh, hello.
We need to talk to you, don't we? Pairs matchy, knockout-y, ultimate angler of the year.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Briefly mentioned it, yeah.
Watch this space.
I'll just be doing the presenting, Des, don't worry, mate. I won't be fishing. That's all I'm good for. But no, hope you like that one, folks. Bit of a different one, obviously. Really great insight there from Des. Thank you very much again, mate.
No problem at all.
It's been amazing.
No, it's been almost been a great day out. And
love it, mate.
Brought the sun with us as well, haven't I?
Oh, absolutely. Cheers, mate.
No worries.
So, hello you lot, and just in case you have missed what is going on within the winning ways world at the minute, we thought we'd have a quick catch up with you just to show these days, as I said, we have taken things to utterly the next level when it comes to channel membership and the content that we are bringing to you on a flipping heck almost daily basis these days. We've got that much going on. But if you have not seen what's going on, over the last month has been the first step in taking things, as I say, to that next level. And the guests that we have had have quite simply been phenomenal. So if you want to have a little sneaky look, what you've got to look at is simply lots of live matches. So this month we've had live matches from Mr. Bennett himself. He went up to Carney Pools and did what he does up there, winning, what is it? It was a bank holiday match, big money bank holiday match up there. He did the job on that one. We've got Matty Dawes. He fished an open match up at Forest Lane. We've got that on this month. We've got some technical ones off Matty as well. I think he did a bit of meat fishing this month. We've got Matty Dawes fishing meat, and alongside that we've got 2 episodes of the campaign, which has been my focus this year, sort of thing, on Fish Midlands. So you're following me through the first 2 qualifiers of that, which were at the Old Huff and as well at the Glebe Fishery, where, less said about that, the better. I got things a little bit wrong there. So, and alongside that as well, we have still got the usual content from me and Andrew, bringing things on the usual channel with the addition of the guest specials that we've been doing. That this time, probably my favourite thing altogether is the learning from new anglers, such as Christian Jones, Christian went out with Andy up to Partridge and went through just why he is so good at F1 shallow fishing. So that lad has took modern day F1 shallow fishing to a whole new level. So of course we were going to tap into him, find out what he could do on that side of things. And we've also had Mr. Shipp, who took us, there's probably no one better that fishing an all-roundy type way of fishing on a commercial. I mean, Des is very much famed for being able to catch a bit of everything when it comes to commercial fishing. So that's what we did. Andy took him down to Woodland View, which would be an old stomping ground of his that he spent many a day back in his youth catching all sorts. And he went down the worm, castery, catching a bit of everything. Very much nostalgic as well, in the way Des used to do things, and also referring to matches that used to be here. So the international scene that he was involved in very heavily, particularly on Arena on here when they used to have the Fishing Mania Internationals. So we've included that as well. This month has been simply ridiculous. We've had loads and loads, and still more to come. I mean, the next thing we're going on to is a bit more guesty, live matchy things. We've got Adam Richards coming next, where he went up to, I'm not sure where he went. Bank End he go to. Never been to that one. So that'll be a nice new venue. He went up there and Adam did what Adam does as well. I'm looking forward to watch his. I've not watched them yet either. That's going to be, Adam's a very positive, aggressive angler, so a whole different way of approaching things, and some of the venues he goes to are pretty special. So yes, we've got that coming imminently, along with a bit more from Bagger himself. We're going to include him as much as possible, and it's simply overwhelming the amount of content we can bring to you for such a small price, and all of us can get a little bit better at fishing. So yeah, if you haven't had a nose, have a look at the catalogue of what is available. To say Winning Ways is continuing to take things to the next level.